Hello Tabletop fans, today is an awesome day because today Agent Callus and Lando Calrissian has reached our shop. And I cannot wait to open these guys up and see what's inside. So if you want to join me and Frank on the table, we're gonna unbox these guys and see what's inside. So see you later. So Frank, which one shall we start? Shall we do Agent Callus first or shall we do Lando Calrissian first?
They always say save the best for last, and to be honest, I am more excited about Lando, so let's start with Callus first.
Okay, I don't know if everybody's gonna agree with that, but
I know that Callus is probably the more favorite one with the rules and stuff, but I mean, I just love the character of Lando, so let's go with this one.
Let's go with Lando, with Callus. So Callus, the box, yeah, as we know it, in the back you can see a little bit of the different options and stuff. So let's start opening it. There we go.
Yes, so Callus, a new commander for the Empire. Relatively cheap, very interesting options in there as we've seen in the spoilers, but let's figure out what's inside.
Shall we start with the
Let's start.
So, all right, Agent Callus. So first off, the booklet shows you a little bit of breakdown of the different bits. We have different head options, different arm options, and they can all fit the same body.
Yeah, so once again, the new format for building characters, multiple poses, multiple equipment that you can choose to build your miniatures. Very nice steps forward compared to the old soft plastic ones.
Yeah, and the rules, but we probably know this already, so I'm gonna set this one aside. All right, a base, and some cardboard, some punch boards.
Yeah, we can toss that aside.
Yeah, the only new thing is probably observation tokens for all Empire players.
Yeah.
They probably don't have the observation tokens yet, so that's a pretty new new thing. The rest is we've all seen this before. Let's start with the model, I think. So there we go. It's a small sprue.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna bring it up a little bit like so. It's a pretty small sprue. So we have one body option in there, two different weapon options, one with a bow staff folded out and one in rifle configuration, and a couple of different faces, one with the helmet and even two without the helmet. That's interesting. Let me take a look. I think the difference is his expression probably a little bit different. Looks pretty sharp, all the detail. Cool. Yeah. All right. Next up, of course we have the base, but you probably have seen bases aplenty already, so I'm not going to show you that. The cards. So we start with the command cards first, probably the coolest thing in the always. The first card is Face Me, Agent Callus. You can give an order to Agent Callus with this one pip. Agent Callus gains Agile 1 and block. During Agent Callus activation, he may perform a free recover action. Enemy units engaged with Agent Callus cannot withdraw. What do you think of that, Frank?
Very good, agile, right? Which gives him free dodges when he moves in. He also gains charge, I think.
Block. He charge. We'll get to that later on. That's with his if he takes his close combat weapon. Then he already has charge.
In combination, anyways, probably you're gonna charge something, smack it in the face while you have dodge tokens because of agile, and that gives you block, which is just a very powerful block. So very interesting.
Yeah.
He also has cutting, worth noting, which means you have a very, very, very likely chance that you go first, which is always very powerful. So I think it's a very aggressive, good one-pip card.
Yeah, and he has tactical one from itself as well, so you get aim tokens as well. I think it's a very cool thing. And the recover part is also extremely interesting.
Very good. The one downside, but that's with a lot of one-pips, is of course it only gives an order to Agent Callus himself. Empire not having very much tricks for coordinate stuff, like a 5s, for example, is a little bit tough, but not the worst.
Yeah, and also interesting to notice, he may perform a free recover action. It doesn't state at the start of his activation or at the end of his activation. He may do it whenever he wants. Yeah, where you can give some very interesting tricks with doing an action, then a free recover, then use the recoverable item again, so you can use it twice in one activation and stuff like that. Very cool. So next one up is ISB Investigation. Agent Callus and 1 unit you can give an order with the 2-pip cards. Declare a number and choose an opponent. That opponent sets aside, face up, any command cards in their hand that have the same number of pips equal to the declared number. That opponent returns these command cards to their hand after they select command cards in the subsequent rounds. Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty ISB-esque, if you ask me.
Very powerful as well. Basically, you can give your opponent a hard time with this.
Yeah,
Trying
you can of course just block a certain pip value. So
Yeah.
if you really need to go first next turn, you can say 1 pips, and then you cannot play any 1 pips, and therefore you will most likely have the initiative. Unless you're facing Han Solo, he can play his 0 pip card, of course. But otherwise, yeah, it's yours to take the initiative. And that combined with his cunning ability, it gives you so much control over.
It's a little bit of an edge over if you have another opponent commander with who also has cunning.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and also it works really well against a lot of Force users who have like these uber powerful card they play once in a game, and you usually know when it's coming, and then you can play the ISB Investigation and then block that card that turn. Very cool. Ruthless Tactics, Agent Callus and 2 units. It's a 3-pip card. After an enemy unit defends against a ranged attack, it gains 1 observation token or 2 observation tokens if it has a number of suppression tokens equal to or exceeding its courage value. During Agent Callus activation, he may perform a free recover action. Interesting to note, another free recover action.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. And observation tokens. What was really surprising to me is that this just say defense against a ranged attack. There is no limitation to a range from Agent Callus or Agent Callus needs to do this attack. Everything in your army can dish out observation tokens this way, which is I think very powerful.
Very powerful. Free rerolls. Focusing fire on certain units, really good. Yeah. It's a very interesting card.
And the 2 observation tokens part with the suppression is interesting, of course, for Empire as well, because you might have mortars in your army or other suppression stuff. There's just a lot of suppression shenanigans in Empire, which absolutely. I think synergizes very well with the Empire. So a cool little card. The next card in the pack is Agent Callus, his own card. He has 90 points. He has contingencies too, which is very interesting. Contingencies, while building a command hand, set aside up to 2 extra cards as contingencies, and you can switch those cards out if you want to. So it gives you, effectively 2 extra cards in your command hand, which is really, really, really nice. He is cunning. He's flawed. So there's a flaw card. We'll see that later. He has Sharpshooter 1 and Tactical 1. He has 6 health, 2 courage, blocks on red, searches to crits, and he has a range 1 to 2 weapon with Pierce 1, black, white, and in close combat he rolls 2 red dice. Yeah. A very impressive stat line, I think, for these 90 points.
There are, for 90 points, some crazy keywords on this card. Like crazy things, search to crit, a Pierce 1 weapon, although it's range 2, but still Pierce 1, search to crit, Sharpshooter 1, cunning is really, really good. And contingencies is just an amazing keyword. Sideboarding, I would love to sideboard some stuff in my droid army, for example.
Definitely.
But droids maybe not so much as other. But for example, Vader and Luke Skywalker, who has a lot of command cards. This is gonna be very interesting.
And the other faction will get there as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, but contingencies, I think it's a keyword that's a very welcoming keyword in this game. Which is going to make the command hand game and army building around command cards very interesting. So
cool.
Very good deal for 90 points. Empire players, you should play this.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's not only fun and games. There's also a flaw card. Developing Sympathies. It's a card for Agent Callus. You give this card to your opponent, and he can play this card at the start of his turn to give you a little drawback. In this case, you may play this card at the start of the command phase if there is a wounded enemy Agent Callus. At the end of that enemy Agent Callus activation, if he performed an attack, he gains 4 suppression tokens. So, that is his flaw. He develops sympathies. Yeah.
I honestly think this barely is a flaw. First of all, because he needs to be wounded, which is not the worst, or not the hardest thing to do, maybe, to get 1 wound on there. But still, your opponent, has a restriction, or he needs to, complete that task of wounding him first.
Yep.
So that's the first thing. The second thing, he gains it at the end of his activation.
Yes.
So is it really a flaw though? Which means, basically he can still do his thing. So your opponent, when he plays this on an important turn or other turn, he still has plenty of time to get rid of this. Plus 2 of his own cards give him a free recover. So I don't think this flaw is going to bother Agent Callus that much in the game.
There is one note though, the recover is after you activate, and this is the end of his activation. So you do need to get through your rally step before you can recover and get the suppression off. So that is the thing. So you definitely shouldn't play this on turn 6 because then nothing's going to happen with this card.
No.
But I think, personally, I would read this card as either making sure that the enemy does the attack because he just cannot afford the 4 suppressions, or if you want to make sure that next turn, because he only have a curse value of 2, your enemy Callus only has 1 action. So you can almost make sure that he goes down to 1 action if you maybe hit him. You have hit him at least probably once, so he already has at least 1 other suppression token, so he will end up with 5. He will lose 1 at the end of his turn. Maybe he has, how's the card called again? The upgrade where you can remove 2 suppression tokens at the end of your turn. Can't get to the name of it, but then he can remove 2.
Then
he goes down to 3.
Endurance.
Thanks. Endurance. Then he goes down to 3. Then at the start of a turn he rolls. He probably rolls off 1, and then he leaves. That leaves him with 2 suppression tokens, therefore losing 1 action. I can see probably that is why you want to count on with this card, and not counting on him running off the table or anything. Yeah. So it's
okay. And also I think it means maybe what your opponent is running. I can imagine if somebody's running Bosk, with a range 4 suppressive gun, can give him a hard time with this card. So that's true. But with free recovers to get rid of it, even if it's though at the end of the extra, I think it's not too big of a flaw.
It's not too big of a flaw, but I think if you're sort of go into the mindset for yourself, okay, I'm gonna get rid of 1 of his 2 actions. Yeah. That is what I want to achieve with this card. And I think it's a fun card, and it's a lot of people are thinking, oh man, I need to delete Callus with this card, or I need to let him run off the table. That's probably not gonna happen. But making sure that he has 1 less activation, or he doesn't attack 1 turn. It's pretty okay for a flaw card. And again, it's just a free extra thing you have at your disposal. You don't have to pay points or something in your army to get this ability against Callus. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is his bow rifle staff. So this is a double-faced card. So it has 2 versions that you can. So you choose one of the 2 how you want to equip him. And with a recover action, you can flip it over. So let's say we're going to start with the bow rifle blaster sight. I think most people will probably go for this one because it's the ranged version. Then you have range 1 to 3, so you have 1 range more than you used to have with this pistol. It's red, black, white. He has lethal 1, so you do need to spend an aim token to gain that pierce this time around, and he gets recover. It's 25 points. A pretty decent dice pool, I would say, and of course, with tactical on Callus himself, you can easily get an aim token.
Yeah, it's tactical. Other tricks like offensive push and those kind of things you can put on him to give him even more tokens, so you can both use rerolls and to gain the pierce value, of course. So yeah, very decent gun.
And with
absolutely.
Sharpshooter 1 as well. Let's
Yeah.
not forget that
Well,
one as well.
you know,
It's-
Sharpshooter 1
yeah.
or Search to Crit, of course, which is...
Yeah, and
just,
Search to
you
Crit
know,
as well. It's-
we've seen
yeah.
it with Bosk. I mean, he doesn't have lethal. He has to at least spend a name token, but
Yeah.
still, Search to Crit and being able to get to get Pierce on it as well
Yeah.
is like one of the best combinations in the game. So
Yeah, so let's quickly reconfigure this card.
Yeah.
There we are. He folds his gun into his staff. It uses the same dice pool in close combat. So red, black, black, white. You gain charge, very amazing. While defending against a melee attack, you gain immune pierce. You gain lethal 1. And still 25 points and still reconfigure, of course.
Yeah.
Mostly the same weapon in close combat, but you gain charge and immune to pierce. Pretty nice, I think.
Yeah, and it's immune to Pierce in general or just for melee attacks?
In melee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Yeah, really solid. One of the first, I think, non-Jedi characters that you actually might consider charging a Jedi in. Not like you still have to be very careful about it, but it's a nice touch, right? It's like
Yeah.
like the Royal Guards, like a lot of close combat units, they either need to smack a small force user in the face when they charge in, or they're just gonna die themselves.
Yeah.
Because he is immune pierce, he might actually last. So
Yeah.
that's really
I think
Really good.
Callus really likes these Jedis who reach the other side
Yeah.
of the table with 3 wounds left or something like that, and then Callus is gonna beat the crap out of them.
which is
Yeah.
really thematic as well, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
In the series, he also kind of challenges Jedi's and try to hunt them down, kind of. So
Definitely. So we have a portable scanner, which is just a really fun card. You can give a friendly unit a dodge token.
yeah,
Fun for 6 points. Love it. B1 battle droids can get it on their units as well. Yeah, really fun, and finally a way for Empire players to get one. The same goes for Ascension cables. We've seen this before. A free action to gain skill,
Yeah.
which is just a really great upgrade for 4 points, and now finally available for Empire players as well. Same goes for Siege the Initiative. It's a card that has been released before as well, but I don't think Empire has had access to that before. And you can give orders to yourself for 5 points, 1 use item for.
no, I believe
commanders
these
and
got
officers.
introduced with Darth Maul, the Darth
Yeah.
Maul wave. So yeah, and I think this was the first release for Empire to
Yeah.
get one. Yeah,
So that's a great one. Situational awareness.
Yeah.
I think the same thing. Empire players haven't had the chance to get this card yet, so there are a whole lot of cards in this. Vigilance. We've seen this already with the commander set for the clones and the droids. You can keep dodge tokens on your units at the end of the turn. Very great with Jedi's close by, or if you're playing rebels with
yeah, definitely.
all your abilities. And Inspiring Presence, where you can increase your range from 1 to 4 to use your courage value instead of their normal courage value. Don't think most of these cards Agent Callus wants to play himself, but I think a lot of Empire players might want to use it on other places in their army. All right, so that was Agent Callus. Let's go to the next guy. So let's put this on the side. There we go. Lando Calrissian himself.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, same thing. Nice little artwork on the back. The 3 different options. Yeah, very curious to see how the Sprues are going to look, because I think this is going to be such a fun character to paint. It's a nice, colorful miniature. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, and he just absolutely looks like the character, right? We had in the very early stages of Legion, there was like a few doubts about some characters. Some people were like not very happy with Leia or Han, but they are really,
Up
doing
the
these,
game.
doing these characters justice now with the new sculpts. So,
Definitely. So let's start with the least exciting stuff first. Let's get it out of the way. The little booklet that's in there. Oh, I keep it upside down again. Little booklet. Yeah, how to assemble it.
Yeah.
Just make really sure that you use the right cape with the right arms and stuff, because you cannot mix and match them any way you like, because the shapes of the cloak
Yeah, matches the arm sets.
mixed, the pose of the arm.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. And also here on the back, as always, a little bit how the rules work that the character has. Not super interesting, but always fun to see. Same thing here. Let's do the cardboard first. Get all the least exciting stuff out of the way, and then we can take a look at the sprues because that's the coolest thing probably in the back. Observation tokens. Again, if you are a rebel player, you probably don't have observation tokens yet. So that's the newest thing in this thing for you as a rebel player. A base.
Very important.
Very important, and it's red. Yeah. So, okay, the sprues. Let me take a look. There we go. So we have one set of legs, a body, and the different cloaks. What was really surprising for me here is this cloak has all sculpted detail inside, which is really cool. So that little pattern he has in the inside of his cloak, it's molded in there. So if you just put a little wash on top or something, you get this nice little texture of his inside of his cloak, which is really, really cool. And again, the different arms, different pistols. You can let him draw the pistol from his chest, or you're already holding the pistol. And we have his hair over here, and you have two different faces you can glue on there. One with a typical Lando smirk, or one without. So again, looking really cool. I really, really enjoy the quality of the plastic sprues these days. They are really amazing, and like what you said before, you just really see the character's likeness in these sculpts, which is really cool. And what I also like is this one, the one with drawing the pistol from his chest. It's another pose I haven't seen before in my Legion army, and I always like that every character is a little bit different. So looks cool. Let's go to his cards. There's some smaller cards as well. Let's flip it over and do the same thing as we did with Callus. Let's start with card number 1, Idiot's Array. Great name. It's a 1-pip card that targets Lando Calrissian. Lando Calrissian gains Gunslinger and Marksman. If there is a 3-pip command card in your discard pile, Lando Calrissian gains 1 aim and 1 dodge token. Or 2 aim and 2 dodge tokens if there is a 3-pip and a 2-pip card. Or 3 aim tokens and 3 dodge tokens if there is a 3-pip card, 2-pip card, and a 1-pip card. Interesting, because you need to have cards in your discard pile to make him more effective.
Yeah.
A thing to note is you always have to start out with a 3-pip card, then a 2-pip card, then a 1-pip card. So if you play this and there's only a 2-pip card in your discard pile, it doesn't do anything. There needs to be a 3-pip card first before you can trigger the other amounts of cards. And you just gain loads of aims and dodges. And you also gain Gunslinger and Marksman, which is very, very interesting as well.
Yeah.
Because Gunslinger, you can attack twice. If you have 3 aim tokens pooled on Lando, you can divide it over 2 of your attacks. And with Marksman, you can even use them to flip around dice, so that you have a really big chance of doing 2 very powerful attacks with him. So, love it. Second card's Ace Up His Sleeve. It's a 2-pip card that targets Lando Calrissian and 1 unit. When Lando Calrissian issues an order to a unit, it gains 1 dodge or 1 standby token. And there's a little big line on top of the card, which means there's a second ability that you can use in a different way. Before drawing for your order pool, you may instead discard this card from your contingencies or hand. If you do, issue an order to Lando Calrissian or a friendly unit at range 1 or 2 of him, then activate this unit. Very interesting. I think this shows that you want to have this in your contingencies, because if you discard it from your hand, you have 1 command card less, and if Lando dies, then you have 1 command card less. So I think it's very interesting to have most of his cards, probably all of his cards in your contingencies, I think, because if you die, you lose your contingency cards, and if that are all Lando cards, then it doesn't matter if you lose them, because you're already dead and you cannot play them anymore. Yeah. Interesting. The first one, on first glance, doesn't look super powerful.
I think it is actually really powerful.
But it is very powerful. Yeah.
Because people have been talking about this online, like Lando and Luke lists, for example, and giving a free dodge, and especially a free standby to a force user is just extremely powerful.
Yeah.
But I think it's just another one of those cards that unlocks a lot of new areas to explore and experiment with. So just a really cool, fun card again.
Yeah. And I just so love the artwork from Empire Strikes Back and everything. It's cool. The last card is All In. Lando Calrissian and 2 units. It's a 3-pip card. Each enemy unit at range 1 to 3 and in line of sight with Lando Calrissian gains 2 observation tokens. Before Lando Calrissian rolls dice during an attack, you may declare a block or a crit result. After your reroll dice step, if there is at least one of those declared results, add 2 matching results. If there is not, your opponent recovers up to 2 dice. That's a lot of text for one ability, but it just says if you have to roll dice, you can declare if you're defending blocks, if you're attacking criticals. If you actually manage to roll those hits after your reroll step, you gain 2 extra. But if you don't, your opponent removes 2. It probably means you're either dead or you miss your attack completely. Really fun. I just really like the sort of gambling.
It's just that. It's maybe like, if you're gonna look at it competitively, it could be really good, or it's like a coin flip almost, right? But I think that's like awesome with this character. I love how they always try to make rules very thematic as well in Legion. It's not just about is this good or is this bad, like is this also fitting to the character.
Yeah,
and this is a card that fits this character perfectly, so I love it. I just love it for that reason. I love it.
And I actually think the defense ability is pretty solid, because usually you roll more than 1 defense die, so there's a big chance you're rolling 3 or 4 defense die. We'll get to that a little bit later. He has Uncanny Luck, so that means that you can even reroll his block die, so there's a pretty big chance that you roll this at least 1 block and then you get 2 extra blocks, so it makes him really survivable for 1 turn. And you almost the awesomeness of the bottom part of the rule, you almost forget the top part of the rule, that he also gives 2 observation tokens to each enemy unit within range 1 and 2, 3 and line of sight of Lando. It's a little bit of a scary one because you probably don't want to put Lando open, and so he sees the enemy army and gives loads of observation tokens because he probably get blasted off the table. But it could be very interesting if he needs to make his move and give a couple of observation tokens to 1 or 2 or 3 units. Should be fine. So I think they try to tempt you to put him out in the open where you see all the enemy and give like a gazillion observation tokens, but I think that's a trap.
Absolutely.
All right, next one up is Lando's rule cards. Lando is 105 cards. He's a smooth operator. Probably the coolest subtitle for a character so far. He is a commander. He has 3 health and a courage threshold of 2. He rolls...
he has 6 health.
6 health, and a courage of 2. He rolls white defense dice. Oh, those dreaded white defense dice for those rebels. I always cry a little bit when I see this. But luckily, he has Uncanny Luck 2. So that gives him a little bit bigger chance to survive stuff. He has a whopping contingencies of 3 cards in your contingency plan. That is amazing.
Yeah.
He has the option to do a covert or op. In this case, he becomes against infiltrate and he becomes a operative rank, which is also fun. He is flawed, as we can see before later on, and he has sharpshooter 2, which is awesome. And like I said, Uncanny Luck 2. Then he has a range weapon. He has his Night Sniper pistol. Sounds awesome. Range 1 to 3. A pistol of range 3, which is pretty unique. Pierce 1. A red die and a black die. Only 2 dice. It doesn't sound like much. But with Sharpshooter 2, it means that if you hit, you have Pierce 1, you kill something. It's going to be amazing to kill off those lonely unit leaders. Or a unit leader with a heavy weapon. And kill heavy weapon, strike teams, stuff like that. And also he has some combat training. He's not the greatest in close combat. You probably want to stay away there because he only rolls a black and a white die in close combat. So, I probably wouldn't go into combat unless you really, 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 really have to. So 105 points. What do you think from Lando?
I actually haven't analyzed this guy a lot. He feels like a character that needs a lot of practice and experimenting before you know how to like play him right. But there definitely feels like there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
Because like first when I saw Callus and then Lando, I was like, why is Lando more expensive than Callus is? But then again, he has some very nasty tricks. Contingency 3, it's more than 2, and it's really,
you
really,
got that right.
really,
Yeah.
it's a really good keyword as well. And he has some really, really nice command cards that work well with some characters, I think. So, and then again, he has a range 3 attack, which is not a lot, but still with Pierce 1, Surge to Crit, and Sharpshooter 2, he's basically, if you can play him safely, he can snipe away some units very nicely. So, he's a character I don't want to say I don't play Rebels really. Maybe sometimes on the simulator or something, but he looks fun. I think that's the biggest thing. He looks a lot of fun, and I think he really has some potential to make some nasty lists. But to be sure about that, I will have to see it happen first.
Yeah, that's the first thing what I thought as well when I saw this character. Like, this is going to be one of the most fun characters to play in the Rebel army, because there's so many cool thematic abilities and stuff. I think this is the type of character that if you just put it on the table without really thinking about it, he probably gonna be underwhelming. But if you build around it and you learn to play with him, I think he could have the potential to be like a real key piece in a army.
He feels a little bit like Cat Bane, right? Like Cat Bane is one of those characters when you just mindlessly field him and expect a lot from it, it's not gonna happen. But if you kind of practice a lot with Cat Bane and make some special lists with him, you can actually do some pretty nasty things, and I think that's where Lando is as well. Maybe even better. I don't know. We'll have to see it. We'll have to see it first. Yeah, but he looks absolutely like an amazingly fun character to play. That's for sure.
Yeah. Like I said before, with Callus, it's not all fun and games with this character. He is also a little bit flawed.
Yeah.
And his flaw is, I altered the deal. Really cool. It's just so cool. So cool. I just want to say that the artwork on these cards is also so amazing. This picture, it looks like a screenshot from the movie, but it's actually a drawing. And I think it's a great thing that they picked for Lando. I altered the deal. Love it. Okay, you may play this card at the start of the command phase if there are at least 3 cards in the discard pile of an opponent who controls Lando Calrissian. That opponent cannot use their contingencies or Lando Calrissian's command cards.
Until the end of the turn, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's for that turn that you play a flawed card, and it will be removed after that.
Yeah. Now if I hear this one compared to the Callus one, this one sounds way worse than the Callus one. But it's just luckily for just one turn. But this is basically if you play it right as an opponent for a Lando, you can basically lock some of his command cards out, which is really you can basically say to him, nope, you're not going to do that.
Yeah, there are some good things and some bad things about this card. Of course, what the card does is horrible, but the good thing about it is that you also know that he can only play it when you have at least 3 cards in your discard pile. Yeah. That means that you are safe the first 2 or 3 turns probably, and if you're playing standing orders, maybe even longer. So that's I think a good thing about this card. Yeah. Also, it says Lando cards and contingency cards. That means if I put all these 3 Lando cards in my contingencies plan, it's just these 3 cards that I'm losing out on. If I put these in my main hand and put 3 other cards in my contingencies, then this card's gonna block out 6 cards. And of course, if you start out playing Lando cards, then there are only a few cards left that you cannot play. So if you already played 2 Lando cards, there's only 1 card he can block with this card. So you have a little bit of a control, or it's a little bit telegraphed what's going to happen. So that's the nice thing about it. The bad thing about it is that Lando does a lot of things with his discard pile, and he has this card ace up his sleeve that he can discard from his contingencies, and you chuck in an extra command card in your discard pile, which helps getting to the Alter the Deal card faster, which is a drawback. And of course, Idiot's Array wants lots of cards in the discard pile, so that's this blocks that card as well. So it's a tough card, but there are some stuff that you have to think about. That it's a little bit telegraphed, so you can sort of try to play around it.
I guess the good thing sort of about it, you can play around it, or at least if you plan from turn 1 of your game, you can kind of make it less worse, right? That's like the tough part. You really have to plan like almost every turn to figure out like, all right, so when do I want to play this card, and when do I want to play that card, and when do I expect this card's going to drop? Like from starting, like when the game starts, you already have to think like, when is my opponent going to drop, right? So you need to do a lot of planning for that. But it's a tough one.
And again, whatever you think of this card, I think it's a really fun card as well. Thematic. Maybe that's probably a better word. A thematic card.
Very thematic.
I like that they do something new. Like we haven't any cards that do a lot with your discard pile and when to play cards. And if you want to play cards, you really have to think about your command cards as well. And that I think is a really cool new thing they are exploring in the game.
I think with command cards, what's really cool is it's not just you play a card anymore, right? That's what it used to be. You just play a card. Now you got things like Divulge, you got Flaws, The command cards are getting like their own little game as well, which is really, really cool. So it's not just dropping command cards anymore. It's like, I have to handle this flaw card, or you have to choose between 2 options, or do you want to divulge it, or do you want to keep it? Really interesting. I like that as well.
All right. Now, let's quickly go to these cards again. We have already seen probably most of them with Age of Callus, but it's a good thing just to talk a little bit about it because this is a Rebel pack. For example, Portable Scanner, I think all Rebel player want to have this one. The most obvious one is putting this one on Leia, which give her take cover 3. So she gives out 3 dodge tokens with 1 action, and it's a lot of nice return for 1 action, 3 dodge tokens for 1 action. I think is pretty amazing. I would gladly pay 6 points for that. And also, of course, with all the nimble going around in a Rebel army, dodge tokens are just really valuable. So a very great one for Rebel players. Ascension Cable, skill, of course, skill is a really cool keyword. A lot of characters can probably enjoy this card. Same goes for Siege Initiative. We already talked about it. Great card. Situational awareness, it's one that a lot of people really love to play. You can use dodge tokens to cancel crit results. Again, the portable scanner rebels do a lot with dodge tokens, so I think this is a good card for rebels. Another one a lot of people probably are waiting for in the rebel faction is Vigilance. Again, Leia is a prime target for this card because you can keep dodge tokens on top of or on your units. And we love dodge tokens with the with the rebels. And of course, with the nimble, you get your dodge token back. With this, you can keep it on that unit if you do one of your core units, and that means that you give him a dodge token once during the game, and then the rest of the game you have a dodge token on that unit of rebel troopers, or 2 units of rebel troopers even with this card if you target rebel troopers, which is of course amazing. And as last but not least, Inspiring Presence. So yeah, nice. That was the unboxing of Lando and Agent Callus. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a like. If you have some questions about it, drop us a message below. If there's something you want to see, if there's something you want us to do, let us know. We might be able to do that for you. And if you're interested in Agent Callus or Lando Calrissian or any other cool Legion stuff, take a look at our web shop, www.tabletopkingdom.nl. And then go to Legion, of course, to see the awesome Legion projects. Hopefully see you guys next time.
All right, well, see you next time, guys.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.